Clair Obscur Expedition 33 arrived quietly. But don't be fooled. This game is much more than it seems at first glance. Amidst a year filled with giants, it managed to stand out with a rare blend of art, emotion, and innovation. And look, this might just be the real game of the year. If that sounds like an exaggeration, don't worry, because today I'm going to show exactly why Clair Obscur Expedition 33 deserves that title, and prove that it's one of the most remarkable experiences of 2025. Clair Obscur Expedition 33 has one of those combat systems that makes you think, okay, this could easily become the standard for the entire genre. It's not just pretty or full of effects. It's the kind of combat you feel in your hands, where each turn feels like a small choreography between strategy and reflex. When a turn-based game manages to be as tense and addictive as a real-time action RPG, there's something special happening there. And that's precisely why you can look at it and say, without fear, this is a strong enough reason to put Clair Obscur in the serious fight for Goty. What's most impressive is how it respects the essence of the classic turn-based RPG, but refuses to be stuck in the past. You still choose actions, think about the order of priority, spend action points, build setups, and plan the next turn as in any traditional JRPG. But, at the same time, the game pulls you into the battle with real-time inputs, QTEs to increase damage, free aim to hit weak points, and especially the parry, dodge, and even jump trio, which transform defense into something active, tense, and extremely rewarding. It's not just a gimmick. It's the glue that binds turn-based strategy with reflex adrenaline. Parry and dodge in particular are the soul of this system. The dodge has a more generous window, that safe option for those who want to survive and learn the enemy's pattern without so much punishment. The parry, on the other hand, is that delicious risk. A tiny, demanding window that, when successful, cancels the damage, fills action points, and still opens space for absurdly satisfying counterattacks. The community is constantly discussing how much this changes the balance of the game. Precisely because, if you master the timing, the combat becomes almost an aggressive ballet in which the line between defending and attacking becomes much more fluid. And that's where the system shows how brilliant it is. It rewards real player skill without throwing away the strategic layer. The result is that each fight stops being just another encounter and becomes a mini mechanical challenge. Bosses and super bosses especially are not just HP sponges. They are practical tests of everything you've learned about timing, animation reading, and resource management. There is a constant sense of personal improvement, not only of your team leveling up, but of you getting better at the art of defending, reacting, and extracting the most from each turn. It's the kind of combat that, when you get beaten, you feel it was your fault. And when you master it, it feels like you're breaking the system in a way that's almost forbidden. It's so enjoyable. And that's why this combat system isn't just good. It's a strong argument for Goty. In a sea of games that either repeat formulas or make superficial changes, Clair Obscur Expedition 33 manages to take the classic turn-based, mix it with parry, dodge, and real-time reactions, and deliver something truly new without losing the strategic soul of the genre. It makes you feel every battle, every perfect hit, every painful mistake. And that creates memories, creates stories, creates moments that you will comment on with other people later. When a combat system alone is strong enough to justify a game's presence in the Game of the Year conversation, you can say with confidence, this one isn't just participating in the race. It's pulling the flagship of innovation in 2025. Clair Obscur is not just a game to play. It's a work of art to feel. The art direction, inspired by French Impressionist paintings and the chiaroscuro movement, creates a deeply melancholic and dreamlike world that impacts the player from the first moment. It's this dramatic contrast between light and shadow that gives volume and depth to the scenes, making you feel the tension of that atmosphere that is as beautiful as it is unsettling. Each environment, each character, carries the weight of a living painting. The visual is not just a backdrop, but part of the narrative, as if you were exploring a painting that tells a story of life and death, light and darkness. It's a game that doesn't allow you to just look. It demands that you dive into that scenery, absorb its nuances, its dualities, and feel the weight of each decision in a landscape that is both beautiful and threatening. The visual effects support this experience with a refinement rare for 2025, elevating each scene to a level that few games can achieve. Whether it's the soft glow of light reflecting on the details or the way the shadows creep, each visual element speaks directly to the player's emotions, creating impressive moments that stay in the memory long after the game. The charm of the world of Clair Obscur is deeply linked to its style, which mixes the elegance of the Belle Époque and the dramatic weight of classic French artistic expressions. It's an environment that seems to breathe, pulsate, and that transforms the game into a stage where art and gameplay walk side by side, elevating the experience beyond the ordinary. For all this, the visuals and art direction of Clair Obscur Expedition 33 are not just beautiful, they are one of the biggest reasons for the game to deserve the Goty in 2025. In a year full of technically impressive titles, few offer such a powerful combination of visual art and storytelling that really makes you stop and admire, as if you were contemplating a living masterpiece in motion. The soundtrack is among the most impressive ever created for a video game to date. Composed by Lorien Testard and Alice Dupour-Percier, it manages to capture the melancholy and emotional depth of the game, with a wealth of melodies that embrace the player's heart. Each note seems carefully thought out to perfectly match the dreamlike and dramatic atmosphere of the world, elevating the experience to an almost transcendental level. What makes this soundtrack so special is its ability to evoke emotion without being intrusive or obvious. It is subtle and powerful at the same time, creating an atmosphere that varies between moments of deep tranquility and tense moments, always with a delicacy that involves without ever losing its impact. You feel like you are listening to a symphony that grows with the battles, with the dialogues, with each step in the painted scenery. It's not just background music, it's a narrative element in its own right. This level of complexity and care with the soundtrack reinforces why many consider this to be one of the best in the history of games in 2025, something rare in such a saturated market. In practice, the music inspires every decision, carries the tension of each combat, and still gives space for you to breathe and contemplate the stunning visuals of the game. It's a kind of sonic dance that makes everything more alive, deeper, more unforgettable. It's impossible not to get carried away, vibrate, or be moved by some of the most touching musical moments ever heard in a game. For all this, the soundtrack of Clair Obscur Expedition 33 is not just a compliment, but one of the central pillars that justify it being in the fight for Goty in 2025. If you value music that makes a difference in the experience, this is one of the most solid reasons for you to give the game a chance and fall in love with the journey until the last chord. The narrative is one of the most profound and memorable experiences you can find in a game this year. The plot revolves around a dark and philosophical story that explores themes such as loss, hope, and redemption, all set in a universe where a young man's mother, after a tragic accident, transforms into the enigmatic paintress, an entity that threatens to erase life with her painting power. The characters you meet during the journey are extremely complex, with intertwined stories that carry real emotional weight. Maëlle, the protagonist, is a representation of the duality between identity and acceptance, giving the player difficult moral decisions about what it means to continue living in a reconstructed reality or face the painful truth. This creates a connection with the player that goes beyond the usual, making you emotionally invest in the suicidal mission against the paintress. The performances of the characters, represented by voices and rich dialogues, are exceptional and further elevate the narrative. Each speech and interaction resonate with sincerity and gravity, reinforcing the feeling that you are participating in a truly living plot. where choices have an impact and the consequences weigh on the unfolding of the story. In addition, the story is not limited to what is told directly. It unfolds in layers, mixing mythology, family tragedy, and the struggle between light and shadow, both in the theme and in the visual metaphor of the game. The conflict between the artificers, the writers, and the main characters creates a backdrop that is both epic and immersed in the intimacy of human emotions. For all this, the narrative and characters are a key piece that makes Clair Obscur Expedition 33 an unforgettable experience and a strong candidate for Goty 2025. The game offers a rich, deep, and emotional story that stands out in the current scenario, delivering a plot that you will not only want to follow, but remember for a long time after turning off the console. Expedition 33 is an impressive example of what a small, dedicated, and efficient studio can achieve in 2025. With a core team of about 33 members, a number that even the legendary Hideo Kojima called ideal, the game was developed with an AA budget, estimated between $15 and $25 million. This lean team managed to accomplish a rare feat these days, launching a game of very high quality, with refined production and deep content, without relying on inflated AAA budgets or the giant structures of large studios. In addition, the game hit the market with an affordable price of $50, well below the average of current AAA titles, that cost in the range of $60 or more. This decision shows a clear commitment to valuing players, instead of exploiting them with microtransactions, season passes, or additional paid content. Clair Obscur is a complete package from launch, without relying on these commercial practices that many players reject today. The market also recognized this bet. In a matter of months, Clair Obscur sold more than 4 million copies, a huge feat for a game developed by a relatively small team, and without the massive corporate marketing support that many big-budget games have. This proves an important point. Quality, innovation, and good value for money can still prevail over the hype produced by large corporations. This combination of lean team, controlled budget, absence of predatory monetization practices, and good sales figures is a clear message about the future of game development. Clair Obscur shows that it is possible to deliver powerful and memorable experiences without sacrificing ethics or inflating the final price for the consumer. For all this, the context of the development and launch of Clair Obscur is another reason to celebrate it as a serious candidate for Goty 2025. It is a living example that, when talent and strategy align well, you can do something that rivals the biggest names in the market, winning the hearts and wallets of players without having to give up integrity. The game achieved an impressive feat in the Metacritic scores, establishing itself as one of the biggest sensations of 2025. Among critics, the game maintains a very high average, in the range of 92 to 93%, placing it at the top of the list of the best rated of the year. Among users, it reached a historical score of 9.7 out of 10, the highest user score ever recorded on the platform, with more than 12,000 reviews, something practically unprecedented in the industry, and that shows a rare consensus between fans and critics. This unanimous reception shows that the game is truly a masterpiece, a work that manages to dialogue both with those who deeply understand game design and with the general public, who value a sincere and engaging experience. Being recognized both by specialized critics and by players is not only an indication of technical quality, but also of the emotional and cultural impact that Clair Obscur generated. And that is the perfect definition of what a game of the year is. It is important to highlight that this high score from users goes beyond the initial hype. With a robust sample of thousands of reviews, the positive feedback is sustained over time, reflecting that the satisfaction of players is real and lasting, a fundamental aspect to determine the relevance of a title in the history of games. Critics praise everything from the innovative combat design, the sublime art direction, to the touching soundtrack and the deep narrative, composing an almost perfect package in so many aspects that it is difficult to ignore. The community also recognized these qualities, highlighting how the game managed to mix emotional weight and refined gameplay, creating a memorable experience for 2025. Therefore, it is no exaggeration to say that the critical and popular success of Clair Obscur is another undeniable reason for it to be considered for the Goty. With such an exceptional reception, it not only marked the year, but stamped its name in the history of games as a true classic of the genre and the year. When I look at Clair Obscur Expedition 33, I can't help but be impressed by how strong it arrived on the 2025 scene, already arriving as an absolute favorite since its release. That moment when a game not only attracts attention but dominates conversations about awards and recognitions makes us realize that we are facing something special. It's as if it had returned to the center of the stage and had no intention of leaving. This position in front of the Golden Joystick Awards nominations, along with the leadership in the Goty polls, shows that the game has conquered both the public and the critics in a rare and well-deserved way. The most fascinating thing for me is how Clair Obscur manages to revive the JRPG genre for the mainstream, which seemed a bit forgotten or stagnant for many players. It brings freshness without losing the classic soul of the style. I see that it inspires a new generation to rediscover what makes JRPGs so special, and that is a powerful legacy for any game. It's not just a title that gained fame, it rekindled a cultural movement in the world of games. Another point that catches my attention is its consistency as a favorite in the most important awards, especially in the Game Awards, where it is competing in multiple categories. This demonstrates that the industry recognizes the quality not only in the visual or in the gameplay, but also in the narrative, soundtrack, and the entire experience that the game delivers. For me, this variety of recognitions reinforces that we are talking about a complete work, built with great care and passion. When I think about the impact of the game, I imagine that feeling of being in front of an instant classic, one of those that we follow from the beginning and know that it will be remembered for years. It not only satisfies hardcore fans, but also attracts new players and keeps the buzz alive on social networks and forums, creating a vibrant and passionate community.
Don't forget to credit me.
This makes the gaming experience transcend the screen and become conversation, shared memories, and even inspiration for future developers.
Take care of yourself.
For all this, for me, Clair Obscur Expedition 33 is more than an award-winning game. It is a cultural phenomenon. Arriving already as the absolute leader in buzz and awards is the clear sign that it is not only a strong candidate for the Goty, but one of those titles that define an era. And I can't wait to see how far this journey will take the genre and the industry as a whole.
For those who come after,